Hey guys, my name is Melissa Davis. I'm the founder of After the Affair, and I wanted to take a minute and share some of my story and how After the Affair came to be. So, I was a stay at home mom of a 3-year-old and a 3-month-old when I found out about my husband's affairs. I tried to figure out how to explain it, but I felt like I was just punched in the gut as hard as possible, and all of my air was out of my body, and I was just like, and then I fell apart completely. I went from being like happy and carefree, not really with a whole lot that really bothered me, to being completely fearful. I was full of anxiety, which I never had dealt with before. I would be on the kitchen floor having a panic attack daily. I was having flashbacks constantly, and I felt completely crazy. It was nuts. Just questioning everything, afraid of everything. Even at nighttime, I was terrified. I felt like I was dying. That was so hard to put into words when you're not in it anymore. So that's a good sign. Things do get better and you start to forget, or it's not so fresh, I guess. But it was just awful. And one of the things that was probably the worst was that I had convinced myself and had been told that I wasn't enough. And I believed it. I wasn't enough anything. I wasn't cool enough. I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't social enough. My taste in music wasn't good enough. Truly, you put anything in the blank, and I was not that enough. And so there was so much damage that was caused in me over this time. And I did become a single mom, and I didn't have the time or the finances to get the help that I needed working with a therapist. I mean, going twice a week for a year or two, that just was never in my cards. I could never pull it off, so I didn't. And I just struggled. I did. I did everything wrong. Just you name it, I did it wrong probably. And what happened is that I just stayed. I stayed in the same place for a really long time. I didn't really move past things. I didn't deal with things in the right way. And so it just made me feel like I was in, I feel like the best way I can describe it is like I was under a waterfall. I could never get out. It was like the water was just pounding on me, and I was fighting to get out, and I would get air just enough to stay alive every once in a while, and I'd just get beat back down. And I just stayed there for way too long. I mean, even a day feels too long, but there was some processing and grieving that needed to happen, but I just stayed put. And I think where After the Affair really came to being is that I realized I was not unique. I was not special. My story was not the only story out there. My friends were going through this, and I found people connected to me through the internet, and I just saw that what was happening to me was almost identical to what was happening to everybody else. The way that they were being treated by their partner, the way that we were putting all of the blame and the focus on ourselves, the way that we were saying we were all not enough, the flashbacks, the panicking, the anxiety, the depression, we were all doing the same thing. That just blew my mind. Like, I thought I was the only one. And then I realized this is like just what we all do, essentially. You can change some details, you can change some, some of our patterns or our people we have in our lives or don't have, but essentially we're going through all of this stuff and it's pretty similar. And so that's when it clicked for me that not only were we all going through the same stuff, we were all screwing up a lot, like I did. And that means there were a lot of people out there, men and women, who are really prolonging how long it's going to take for them to move on and be healthy and look back and be really, like, know who you are and be proud of yourself. So that's where I got some fire under me, and I was like, nope, not happening. I don't want anybody to have any reason not to get help. So for the people who now can't afford therapy twice a week for a year or two, now you can. And for the people who are so freaking depressed that you can't even make an appointment and call the number, we're here. And you have to work 2 jobs because now you're a single parent. We will be with you Saturday night in your pajamas in your bed. not really, but you know, your computer can be. So that was my goal. I wanted something that could help anybody under any circumstance, whatever they're going through, because it's just not okay. Adultery is such a huge thing in our culture now, but what is happening to the person who is hurt? Where are all these resources for us? There's stuff out there, but there's a ton of stuff for, you know, sex addiction, porn addiction, marriage retreats, and how to get couples back together. But what about for like your own healing? Because no matter what happens in your relationship, if you stay together, if you don't, you have a lot of work to be done, and you've gone through a very serious trauma, and that trauma is going to stick with you. So that's what we're here for. We're going to work on your processing, your healing. We're going to get you to a point where, let's say you're just on the floor in a puddle, to where you can stand again. And that's our goal. So we're going to get you standing. And I promise, it sounds nuts. I would have said it that I was crazy a couple years ago, but you will look back at yourself and at all of this. If you're willing to do the work and you're willing to really push, you're going to look back and say, I am so strong. I am so much stronger than I thought I was. And you're going to know yourself. You're going to know who you are. You're going to know that you're valuable. You're going to actually believe that. And you're going to require that people treat you that way. And you're just going to be so proud of yourself. Your family, your friends, you're going to be like, wow, like, you pulled it off. You really did it. And so you didn't choose for this to happen. You have no control over that. But you do have control over who you become. And that's what we're going to work on. So stick with us. We're here for you. We have been very intentional putting together a team of people whose life work has been perfectly curating all this content we're going to give to you. It'll be really useful. Stick with us, do the work. You're going to be happy you did. Bye.